Yes, my beautiful people, we have a Tiki Taka tactic. It's a 4-3-2-1. It was first created in Brazil, then we tested it in Spain in the second division. It is a tactic where in some games you are getting near enough 1,000 passes. Yes, that's 1,000 passes for you to control the opponents and play some brilliant football. So what we are going to do right now is get stuck in to the video. So, as said, we are using a 4-3-2-1, and it's actually unfamiliar because we're using 3 DMs rather than 3 CMs, and it is for total control. We do get total control in Football Manager, but we can look at the strengths and weaknesses of a 4-3-2-1 formation. The 4-3-2-1 formation, otherwise known as the Christmas tree formation, became synonymous with Carlo Ancelotti's AC Milan team that won the Champions League in 2007. The formation was an evolution of the 4-1-2-1-2 with the acquisition of new players to fit the Christmas tree system. The system relied on central dominance alongside marauding fullbacks to provide width in the attacking phases. So we've touched on something important already. The system relied on central dominance, which is exactly what we're aiming for. So looking at the natural strengths of the 4-3-2-1, what makes our tactic so strong in Football Manager? The central midfield superiority is offered by the numbers in midfield. The central midfielders in the defensive phase provide good coverage, able to zonal mark the 3 central vertical zones, and defensively in Football Manager, we did really well. The 2 advanced midfielders are able to operate close to the central forward, providing a natural link to the lone striker. The 2 advanced forwards, or the 2 attacking midfielders, I should say, are again key to the system. They link the play, but also creatively wise, they have to be very effective. The natural positioning of the 2 advanced midfielders encourage them to operate in and around zone 14 and in between the defensive lines. So the zone 14 is kind of the width of the opposition's box, but also they can operate in between the lines, dragging the opposition out of their defensive shape. Again, very important. The central forward is supported by the 2 advanced central midfielders alongside the fullbacks, providing penetration in the wide areas. Now, this is actually slightly different to what we are doing because we are actually focusing very much in those narrow areas. So even the fullbacks, they're not necessarily staying wide or giving us that width. Actually, sometimes they're going to come in and link up play is all about controlling the game, controlling possession, having players in close proximity, which also helps with the counter press. If players are playing close to each other, then if we do lose the ball, it's going to be easy enough for us to win the ball back straight away. But there is some weaknesses in the system that you guys should look out for as well. In the system, there is an actual lack of width. So there's obviously no wingers. The width are going to be provided by your fullbacks, but even in our system, they are told to come inside. Pause. The width and the opportunity to penetrate in the wider areas is made harder if the fullbacks can't fit the demanding role. The system operates without a natural anchoring midfielder. This can leave the team vulnerable in the defensive and defensive transition phases, which doesn't necessarily apply to us because we are using 3 defensive midfielders rather than 3 central midfielders. The fullbacks can be isolated and overloaded if not supported effectively. And lastly, if a central midfielder shuffles wider to assist the fullback in the wider areas, pockets of space can be opened up in central midfield, especially if the CMs are slow to react off the individual movement. But again, we are trying to operate in close proximity, so we don't necessarily want our central midfielders, the wider ones, to be shifting out into those wider areas. Actually, we want our fullbacks coming inside the middle and linking up with the central midfielders. But that there is the strength and weaknesses of the 4-3-2-1, thanks to Russell Pope, and of course his link to the Twitter will be in the description below. Now it's time to look at the results in Football Manager. In Brazil, the Brazilian National First Division, we are Palmeiras, of course. We won the league, we topped the division, we got the title. We played 38, winning 29 of those 38 games, drawing 4 of those draws away from home, and we lost 3, all 3 away from home, so we were unbeaten at home. In the Brazilian Sao Paulo State Championship, we won that, winning 8-1 in the final on aggregate aggregate. In the Copa Libertadores, which is a very, very difficult competition to win on this game, we got to the semi-finals, losing out to Flamengo, who were actually predicted to finish first in the Brazilian first division. In the South American Recopa, we won that, and then in Brazilian Cup, we got knocked out in the 4th round. But looking at the average rating in this league, the top 3 are our 3 players, Bruno Tabata, Rafael Veiga, and also Dudu. And the top goal scorer in the league for us was Rony. But we care about how the team was performing. We scored the most goals, most shots for, we come in 3rd actually, but that's mostly because we are controlling the game. We're not necessarily attack heavy, looking to get further forward at any given opportunity. Actually, we like to control the games and work good openings rather than just shooting relentlessly at goal. But defensively, we are pretty strong, just 2nd behind Flamengo. When it comes to most possession, we have 61% of the ball, completing 89% of our passes. Now, this is going to be some key information later on in the video. Dribbles made, you can see that we're our 11th, so we're not actually in the top half if you're looking at that sort of table there. So that's key information and how I worked a tweak for the team in Spain. And then most clean sheets as well, it is us with the fewest conceded. We had the top goal scorer, the top assist, the player with the most man of the match awards. Looking at the key passes, we have 2 players in the top 8. Best pass completion, one of our centre backs. Fewest conceded, most clean sheets is our goalkeeper. Looking at the XG table, we came 2nd with 60.8 XG created, though we overperformed by 22, which is sort of unheard of, especially in my experience playing this game. And expected goals against 27.2, we did better by 13. Expected points, we're actually coming 2nd again, 72.9, but we overperformed by 20. That is just absolutely insane. And you can look at the pass map in our most recent game, 918 passes. So you can see nearly 1,000 passes, and that's way more than once we hit over 900 passes. And you can see the beautiful green links in the pass map. As I said, we tested it in the Spanish 2nd division with Eibar predicted to finish 4th at the start of the season. The Spanish 2nd division, we played 41, winning 34, drawing 3, losing 4. 4 of those losses at home, so no, we went unbeaten at home with Eibar. But in the Spanish Cup, we got to the quarter-final. We did really well because in the 4th round, we knocked out Valencia, of course, a league above us. In the 3rd round, we knocked out Elche, another team in the league above us, and we also knocked out Sporting Gijón, one of the better teams in the 2nd division. Looking at the stats over here, it's more domination for Eibar actually, and the 2 versions are slightly tweaked. So the Brazilian version and the Spanish version are slightly different. So if I was you, I'll probably go for the Spanish version. We scored 82 goals, which is the most. We had the most shots for, the fewest shots against, the best pass completion with 90%, so just 1% better than what we did in Brazil. With the average possession, again, top of the list with 61 with 61%. Most tackles won isn't us, but we don't really care about that, though we are 8th. Most dribbles made, now you can see the difference because there was a slight tweak, 887. So that slight tweak took us from 11th in Brazil to 1st with Eibar. I mean, the tweak is just run out defense. And the clean sheets, both Eibar. The player statistics, we're not in the top. Yeah, actually our striker didn't play all the games, so he started 27, scoring 22. If he did start the season, then God knows how many games he could have, how many goals he could have actually scored. I'm not exactly sure how the game works out expected points on this game, but again, it's over 20. We are overperforming by over 20. Expected 79.5, and then we are overperforming by 25. We are also overperforming with expected goals against and overperforming with expected goals created. This time we come in 2nd again, but just 3 behind Villarreal. But that's the tactic, the strengths, the weaknesses, and you've got the results. How well this tactic does in Football Manager with a good team. Actually, that's probably a disclaimer. You should be a good team. It is Tiki Taka. You should be a good team within the league. So that is the strengths and weaknesses. That's the results. Now is looking at the tactic. As said before, the two tactics are slightly different. So what we are going to do is build sort of the main one, the one that I done in Brazil, and then after I can show you the differences with the Brazilian one and the IBA one. But we will build a tactic just so you guys can get my sort of thinking, which should help you as well when it comes to creating your tactics. It should help you sort of, if you want to listen to me, when it comes to creating your own tactics, or if there's a certain idea that you like about my tactic, you can kind of listen out how I worked it out. So we're going to start with a 4-4-2 because this game's sort of broken. It doesn't come with all the formations. So we're going to go with the 4-4-2, and we're just going to drop one central midfielder back, another one, and then we're going to drop a winger back. We're going to drop a striker in this position, this winger there, this striker here, and then voila, we have our 4-3-2-1. Normally you would have a 4-3-2-1 with 3 central midfielders, but we're going to be a bit brave or a bit cautious, whichever way you want to pull it, and then we're going to go with 3 DMs instead. Now, from the get-go, I knew that this tactic was going to be all about the central play, so even down to the wingers, or the fullbacks I should say, I'm going to put them on automatic. And it's mainly because I don't want to use wing backs. I don't want to use wing backs because wing backs like to run wide with the ball. So actually, when they do have the ball and they're looking to get further forward and dribble, they're running away from certain players, which is what I didn't want. Now, I could also use an inverted wing back on support that looks to come inside, and he's going to place more emphasis on coming inside and playing, linking up with the central midfielders and just having that narrow movement, especially in the half spaces. But again, that makes us too one-dimensional. I don't want to become too readable, so we are using a fullback on automatic, which we're going to tell him to behave like an inverted wing back, so sit more narrow, come inside with the ball. The left back will be crossing more often, which is slightly different to an inverted wing back, but then on the right hand side it will be sit more narrow, cut inside with the ball, but then cross less often, more so like a inverted wing back. And that there is the back line. The central defenders will do very well in keeping control of the ball, especially not using ball playing defenders, because we don't have any wide players for them to hit those sort of counter attacking and those long diagonal balls. I feel that a ball playing defender would lose the ball too often for me in this system, so I've just went with 2 central defenders. In goal, we are going to be using a super keeper on defend, and this is how I am looking to control the opponents. Now, I didn't actually think I could possibly use a super keeper on attack here, so I'm more comfortable with using the ball at their feet. Maybe that gives us more control, but then again, it depends on your goalkeeper. Now, moving into defensive midfield, I want someone that's going to control the midfield for us. So a playmaking role, it could be a deep line playmaker, it could be a register or a roaming playmaker. I'm cancelling out a deep line playmaker because we have a bit of a gap between our defensive midfield and our attacking midfielders. So a deep line playmaker is going to look to hold his position in this sort of deeper areas, and it might just create a disconnect. I do want our defensive midfielders to still support the attackers, and that also will help with our counter press. So I've got 2 roles here, a register or a roaming playmaker. I feel a roaming playmaker is more individual in the sense that he might dribble with the ball, bring it forward and make it more about him, whereas a register is always going to be looking to create chances for his teammates. So it's going to require a lot of teamwork, but we are going to be using a register, and someone still hasn't have the license to roam, especially side to side, and look for the ball. On the left hand side, we are going to use a defensive midfielder, someone that's going to keep possession and just keep things safe. He is still going to help out the attacking players here, as it says here, we'll step into the midfield line and support the attacking midfield. And then the Segunda Volante on the right hand side of that, someone more of a box to box midfielder. So we've got someone energetic, we've got a creative player, and then we've got someone that's sort of that holding midfielder that's just gonna hold his position more so and also keep possession of the ball. Now, looking in attacking midfield is already sorted for us. We are using an attacking midfielder on attack on this side, and then an attacking midfielder on support on the left hand side, and then lastly we are using a deep line forward on attack. So now if I switch between this and the actual completed version, you will see the roles are the exact same, they're identical, apart from in Brazil we are using a no-nonsense defender, sort of a tweak that I made towards the last 15 matches, and then obviously the super keeper on defend. I haven't tested it on attack, so beware. But we can move over to the team instructions. The mentality is positive. We are trying to stamp our authority on the game and just look to control the game, kind of cautiously move players forward. Attacking width is more narrow, so again we are focusing in those central areas, playing out from the back, helping us keep control. So is the passing directness. Now the tempo is a bit of a weird one because I don't feel we necessarily operate with a this seems that we're operating with such a high tempo that things are just boom, bam, bam, but you don't actually see that in the match engine. Now, the moment I make it slower, the results start to go a bit backwards. So I just left it on tempo higher. It works really well in Football Manager, and it didn't necessarily mess with the control that we was getting, and that may be more so down to the player roles that we are also using. In the final third, low crosses work the ball into the box, and in the attacking third, I want creative freedom. That is my joga in this Tiki Taka. I don't know what joga means. I don't know what it means. When possession has been lost, counter press and counter when the goalkeeper has the ball, look to distribute it to the defenders. And lastly, out of possession, we are high pressing, so that's a higher defensive line. A high press with the line of engagement, a much more trigger press, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, step up more and trap outside. But what you will notice is that this works great for 15 games and then it just stops. I don't know. Some people have this in Football Manager where your tactic is just unbeatable, then all of a sudden it just stops. And now with this tactic, I did find it really annoyed me, but then it took some time. It took time, and I think I finally found out why. So we are narrow and we are also forcing the opposition on the outside. What the opposition started to do is just start to use the fullbacks. The fullbacks got a lot of the ball, and then it was just easy for them just to go down the byline and just play around our press. They were literally playing around our press. So for the IBA tactic, again, this tweak was more so for the second half, because the first half, perfect. Second half, I mean, for 3 games, it was awful, and I had to find a tweak. I just had to. So one of the tweaks was to add tackle harder and mark specific player on both attacking midfielders. By the way, there's no player instructions other than the tweaks that I'm talking about now. So the players that they are marking, so he's going to be marking the right back because he's the left-sided attacking midfielder, and then the right-sided attacking midfielder will be marking the left back. And then also I did remove trap on the outside. I did remove that. I'll get stuck in and also prevent short goalkeeper distribution. I don't know if you guys have noticed it, but whenever I use this, it makes my attacking players very narrow and it just leaves their fullbacks. Every system I've had, even the 4-3-3, prevents short goalkeeper distribution, and my 2 wingers coming narrow just completely leaves the fullback free. So that is the IBA tweak again. And run at defense, yeah, I did mention that earlier. Also run at defense and the distribution, we are throwing it to the fullbacks. So as you can see, I have 2 IBA versions. So this would be when I'm started the season until it started to phase out, and then when it started to phase out, I quickly switched to this, where now we've switched our defensive patterns and we are also using man marking on the attacking midfielders. And that there wraps up the results, but I cannot leave you guys without seeing some beautiful clips. So we are going to watch some lovely play that this Tiki Taka tactic used. So I'm going to go to my OBS. This is a bit unprofessional right now. So this is what we are going to be using. If you aren't following me on Twitter, make sure you're following me on Twitter, because this is where I post the updates, especially when it comes to the style of playing, posting links and posting updates throughout the season. So here's Diego, and they're going to lose the ball. Here's Murillo, Weatherton, the goalkeeper, to Murillo, the left back now, plays it to Gelson, to Barta, comes deep to collect. Here's Ronnie dropping deep as well, and then a lovely goal for the attacking midfielder breaking through. In the same game, we are playing out from the back. Here's Murillo, the left back, plays it into Tabato. Here's Murillo at the register. It's just lovely football. I can't even keep up. And this is what I also meant about playing in cross proximity and also effective for the counter press. So here we actually put the ball into the box. We lose it, but look how many players are around the box. I mean, we are sort of lucky the ball doesn't fall to number 20 here, but we are positioned very well to snuff out and also keep the pressure on, which we do. And then it's just lovely football. It's lovely combination play. Different game now. We are currently 4-0 up against Corinthians. The left back plays it into the register. So we are sort of seeing a quick tempo here where players aren't taking too long with the ball, but they aren't necessarily making bad decisions that make us lose the ball. They are playing close proximity, linking up. It's just beautiful football. It is beautiful. So this is us intercepting the ball. And again, you're going to see some quick link up and combination play in the middle. Once we do move it, here we are, boom. This is just danger zone. That the moment we are able to shift the opponents and then play the ball into the middle, because at the moment our sort of middle players here, we can't get the ball because number 9 is kind of shadowing that, so we force number 9 to press. He's played it to Marcos Roca, the right back. Roca plays it back to Gomez, some nice quick link up play, and then now look, that passing lane to Gelson is open, and then it's the moment he turns, he's facing towards goal, plays it to Tabata turns, face towards goal, Ronnie's making a run, and then boom, lovely goal. And lastly, this clip was actually on Twitter. So what you're going to see here is us sort of drawing the opposition to press, but also we're going to see our DMs rotating positions. The left-sided defense midfielder moves into the middle, whilst the middle moves onto the left-hand side. So here's Gelson, currently our left-sided defensive midfielder. He plays it to Lawan, and now you can see our register. He's roaming from his position, and he's actually switched positions momentarily. He's now the left-sided defensive midfielder, and then the left-sided one is in the middle. Some quick combination play. They switch back again, not quick enough for my liking, but they do switch back, and then it's just build up. It's patient build up play, and then we're gonna see some moment of expression there. A Register plays a long ball into the Ronnie striker, and then bang, Ronnie goal. And unfortunately, that wraps up today's video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this 4-3-2-1 Tiki Taka video. And shout out to my Patreon, shout out to everyone who made it this far. I will see you guys soon, stay safe, but at least don't forget to like this video, be subscribed if you're not subscribed, and leave a comment if you haven't left a comment. I'll see you guys soon, stay safe, God bless, and peace out.